Uh-oh, back again. Hey guys, what's up? It's Imurgency and welcome back to my channel. Today we are back with another video, and as you can probably tell from the title of this video, we are back. We have gathered here today to really reflect on this past year and take a really good look at the characters that we have been watching on television for the past year and a half, and finally take the opportunity to put them in their place. Hypothetically, of course. Well, we're doing a tier list. Now, if you have not seen, we've actually done this video before, I think a couple weeks ago, where I ranked Netflix main characters, and y'all had a resounding response of do a part 2 and cover more characters because a lot of your faves were left out, and I'm sorry for that. I'm not promising that I'm gonna get all of your faves this time, but I have a lot more characters to rank this time, and we're expanding a bit. We're ranking TV characters from all streaming platforms, at least shows that I've watched this year or covered on this channel. And I think we have almost like 75 characters to rank. So we have a little content to get through here, babes. Just to give you a little taste of what we're working with here. We're ranking Gossip Girl, Ginny and Georgia, Euphoria, The Sex Lives of College Girls, and so many more shows. So let's have a little fun and let's get into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of the content that I have coming out. Moving into 2023, we cover all things TV, pop culture, commentary, and fashion over here, so if any of that is of interest to you, hit that subscribe button. Also, while you're at it, you can follow me on my social medias here at Imurgency. That's TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. We are so close to 10K, and I would love to hit 10K followers over there by the end of the year. So if you'd like to give me a little Christmas present with a follow, then go hit up that Instagram. And finally, if you haven't already, make sure to leave a like on this video because it helps out so much with the algorithm. But self-promo aside, let's actually get into this tier list. So as you can see, we actually have a lot more characters to go through this time. But before we get into the characters themselves, let's talk about the tiers that we're working with this time around. So starting from the bottom, we have the characters that deserve to be thrown into the pit. And characters in this category I just genuinely hated. Like, I did not enjoy their presence on the show. They might have served an important purpose, but it was not to fulfill my heart of hearts, if that makes sense. So for that, they deserve to be thrown in the pit. A tier above that are the characters that I wish I did not remember and that I am so sad that I actually do. And these characters aren't as bad as people that deserve to be thrown into the pit. They're just characters that I'd rather not know. And when I'm reminded that they're in the show, I'm like, oh, damn. And then the tier above that, we have the, you exist category, where yeah, these characters exist and I'm not mad at it. They may have not been like standout characters, but they're there. And I feel like they add something, but I don't feel strongly either way. Then a tier above that, we're getting to the good stuff. We have the highlight of the year. Characters that are highlights of the year. I'm personally a fan of them. They are really great characters and I just want to be them. And they can only really be bested by the tier above that, which are the legend livings. Like, oh my god. And these are the icons amongst icons. The Beyoncés, if you will, of TV characters. And I don't know how this list is gonna pan out, but I feel like there are gonna only be a few legend livings. And yes, I know the correct way of saying it is living legends, but we are legend livings here. Thank you. But with that out the way, let's actually get into this tier list. So like the last video, we're gonna be working in chronological order, at least in the order that the shows appear in this list, because I took some time to organize them by show. And the first show we have here is Gossip Girl. In Gossip Girl, especially this latest season, there's a lot going on. Like this latest episode, I think episode 4, messy down. And I don't know what to feel about this season of Gossip Girl. So we're gonna see how this pans out. Oh, and I'm judging each of these characters by like their latest season, just so you know. So first up, we have Aki. Mr. Aki. Aki seems like such a sweetheart. His character on the show does run a little bland, I'm not gonna lie. Like in my opinion, the only thing keeping him afloat is that throuple situation that he's in. But if not for that, Aki would kind of just be there. Like especially in season 1, he was kind of just there to figure out the throuple nonsense. But I really do like Aki's aesthetic and I love Evan Mock down. So I fear I'm gonna put Aki in the who exists category because yeah, I feel like he exists. He's not really giving us too much, but you know, he's there. Next, following behind him is Audrey. And Audrey, I feel like gives the same energy. Like out of the throuple, I feel like Max is giving us the most anything, really. Like I love Audrey's cunty moments where she can just be like a terrible person, but like a likable terrible person. And then she also has moments where she can be like sweet and just like a good friend. But overall, I'm not strongly pulled towards Audrey and I'm not strongly pushed away to Audrey. So I feel like Aki, she's also in the, you exist category. But I'm not mad about it. Then we have the icon herself, Luna Law. Miss Luna Law. Now this, Luna's that girl. Luna is that girl. It's just, she had me at that scene in the latest season where she's talking to Max and comforting Max, being like, those two aren't good for you. And then she walks away with two strapping men herself. Like, that is an icon. Like, I love Luna for that. And I'm really excited to see where her character goes this season. It seems like she's setting things up to sort of, maybe she might pull a sneaky and go for the crown between Monet and Julian, because she seems like she knows what she's doing. So for that, I have to put Luna in legend living. Like, she's an icon amongst icons. And you can fight me on that all you want, but Luna's that girl. Next up, we have Zoya. Miss Zoya Lot. And I don't know how to feel about Zoya. I really don't know how to feel about Zoya. Like, season 1, I really wanted to support Zoya. Like, I was a Zoya stan. But as time goes on, she's kind of annoying. She's kind of gotten a little annoying, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's the whole back and forth plotline that she has going on with her dad right now that kind of just makes me feel like, I mean, okay, like, cool, but, you know, give us something more, give us something else. So for that, don't hate me. But I'm putting Miss Zoya Lot in the wish I didn't remember you category, because, you know, she just isn't hitting the same way that she used to in season 1. I don't know. She was the underdog last season, now... Right. Next, we have Mr. Max Wolf. And Max is a menace. Max is a menace through and through. He just wants to be in love and he keeps getting played by Aki and Audrey. And I know I just gassed him up, talking about how he's more interesting than Aki and Audrey. But he's going right there with him. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Yeah, he's right there with them. It would be wrong of me to break up the throuple like that. And he also, while being one of the more interesting characters in the cast, just doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry, he doesn't do it for me. So for that, he's in the I mean you exist category. Next we have Grace. And if you've seen the latest episode of Gossip Girl, you know Miss Grace is an interesting individual. And for those of you that haven't seen it, and again, this is a spoiler video, so if you have not seen the episodes, you can just skip along to see how the tier list ends out. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about some plot points. But what was revealed about Grace? Grace, if you don't know, is Obi's girlfriend. Not only was she cheating on Obi with 2 people already, but she was also hooking up with her brother. Need I say more? Into the pit you go. Banished. Yeah, Grace is in the pit, deep. Anyways, Shan I don't have a problem with. She can be kind of annoying, and she kind of gave me like Faye from Euphoria vibes with the way that she just would not disclose information that Zoya probably should know and that she shouldn't know. Like, my whole thing is like, why are you not going to tell Zoya you overheard some really critical information about her father? Like, you weren't supposed to know that, and if you feel bad about it and really care about Zoya that much, you should probably let her know as opposed to keeping it a secret and then like kind of using that against her whenever Zoya is like, you're acting really weird. Because yeah, you are acting really weird. And the whole thing with her parents dialing it down to appease Zoya's father was also kind of weird. But I mean, overall, I feel like she's a good character, and she's one of the few people on Gossip Girl that's actually darker than a paper bag, so I love that representation. Because I'm gonna make a video on just like colorism in like modern media, and just how like black representation in media is like oftentimes spearheaded by lighter skinned individuals. But that's for another time. For right now, Shan is in the I mean you exist category. Next we have Julian. Julian, girl. Something about Julian just irks me. I mentioned this in my last video about like how writers will write Gen Z and like influencers in Gen Z. I hate the way that Julian is an influencer. Like, I hate the way that her character line is written where she's like, hey loyal followers, today I'm going to be starting a segment called Stop the Story, and I'm going to be exposing the tea about my relationships and showing you the unfiltered view of filtered images. Like, girl. And her decision making is just so self-destructive. Like, I don't know how to feel about Julian. Like, it's the way that she knew that it was wrong to go for a married man, but then got her heart broken a little bit and then went to pursue that married. I'm in between putting Julian in the pit and just wishing I didn't remember her. But at the same time, I feel like Julian and Zoya are 2 sides of the same coin, so they're gonna be right there next to each other. I just wish I didn't remember Julian. I won't send her to the pit. She needs to be reformed. Next up is Obi. And Obi, Noble O, as Gossip Girl calls him, I just don't like him. I'm sorry, I don't like Obi. I never really liked Obi. He always just gave perpetual victim vibes. Even when he's in the wrong, he always finds a way to be the victim and like blame other people for his issues. And I really don't like that. And I All right. All right, don't hate me. Don't fight me. Don't fight me. I already know. I know the Obi stands go hard. But Obi's going right to the pit. He may not be as deep in the pit as Grace, but they twinning him. They are sharing that pit together. And then finally from the Gossip Girl crew, we have Monet. And season 1 loved Monet down. Between the outfits, the cunty attitude, like Monet was always that girl. And now she's getting her chance to actually be that girl. And we're actually seeing like insecurities and cracks in her personality, which I can appreciate. But I still like Monet down. Like I like how twisted she is and how like hell-bent she is for power. So for that, she's the highlight of the year. Like I love seeing her rise to power. Like I love that for her. So she's highlight of the year. Love Monet. Now it's time to move into the next show, Love Victor. And I feel like Love Victor is going to move very quickly because if you see my review of Love Victor, you probably already know how I feel about a lot of these characters. In my opinions, have not changed. And first up, we have Andrew. Andrew, I'm glad that he had his character redemption, but I mean, he just exists for me. He's a so-so character. He was really sweet to Mia, and I really love that he was sweet to Mia because Mia deserved better than she got all throughout Love Victor. So I love that for him, but he's just like an okay character to me. Benji, let's take a quick guess. Let's take a quick poll. Where do you think I'm going to put Benji? I'll give you a second. Okay, if you guess option D, the pit, then you would be correct. Because Benji, you're going right into the pit. He is terrible. And when I say terrible, I mean terrible. I'm still not over when he got it in his brain that it would be okay to speak back to Simon's mother like that. Like that was his own mother. Like, you're funny. You're really funny. You don't go into someone else's house and start barking at someone else's mom. Like that, zero couth. That, and I really just didn't like Benji as a character. Sorry. Now we have Felix, and I feel like we got a lot of characterization out of Felix throughout like the series of Love Victor, and he's a flawed character, but he's a really nicely flawed character. We got to see a lot of change in him, and for that, I'd say he's the highlight of the year. I'm a fan of Felix. I am a fan of Felix. Mia has been through so much. She had been dragged through the mud over the seasons of Love Victor, and I feel like she deserves so much better. But I'm glad that she's finally happy, and for that, I'm also a fan of Mia. And Raheem deserved so much better. Raheem deserved his own show. Like, love Raheem. Where? Because Raheem was just trying to do his own thing. And I'm glad that he ended up with someone that seems to be obsessed with him because that's cute and he deserves that. So Raheem, also highlight of the year. I love me some Raheem. Actual main character, Victor. Victor made me mad very often with his decision making and his choice of love interests and just how he navigated his world. And at first, season 1, I was really happy to have him be like the main character, but by the end of the series, I kind of wish I didn't remember him. I kind of wish I did not remember Victor. I'm sorry, Victor, but sorry, Stink. And then finally we have Pilar. And Pilar, she's a pillar to this show, and I really like that she got her own storyline as she got older throughout the show and started dating Felix. And Pilar just stood out to me as a highlight. So yeah, she's the highlight of the year. Now on to Ginny and Georgia. You were yelling at me to talk about Ginny and Georgia in my last video, and we finally got it here. And I think I know why. I think I know what you expect out of me. I think I know what you want me to say about Ginny and Georgia. And I'm here to tell you. I don't know if I'll give it to you. We'll see. Take your guesses. We have Abby, Georgia, Zion, Ginny, Hunter, and Marcus. And take your guesses right now as to where I'm going to put them on this tier list. And we'll see if you're correct. But Abby was just going through it this whole season. And she's like that friend that goes through the most, but no one really cares. And will like act out and people will be like, oh, girl, you good? And she's like, no, and they carry on anyway. Like that's Abby, because that's exactly how her friends treated Abby. I'm really excited to see how she transforms and sort of grows from that in season 2, which is supposed to be coming out in February, I think. But I think it's been a while since I've actually seen Ginny and Georgia, and for that, I feel like she's like an okay character. So Abby's okay. Abby's just okay. She exists, and I'm not mad about it. Then we have Georgia. And I personally feel like, Ginny gets a lot of flack. And a lot of it's justified. I'm not gonna discount that. But we have to really think. Ginny's a child, and children just don't get these qualities on their own. There is a certain factor that leads them to become who they are, and that factor is the parent. So I am personally of the belief that Ginny is the way that she is because Georgia is the way that she is. So it's unfair to come for Ginny without also coming for Georgia because it's twin them. They're like this. It's called Ginny and Georgia for a reason because they are both guilty. In my opinion, the only difference between Ginny and Georgia is that Georgia, since she's older, she can pull off a little bit more cuntiness. She has learned to mask the crazy with the cunty. And for that, I'm okay with it. Like, as long as you can serve a look or serve a little bit of something with your toxic traits, then personally, I might look a blind eye. What's this to say? I can't see, I'm blind. And that's why you exist. You're okay with me. Georgia's okay with me. I did all that for what? To say she exists? Yup. And I believe it too. I strongly believe it. Next up we have Zion. And Zion, while Zion is fine, he ain't shit. Like, I'm sorry, he ain't shit. And I think with Zion, I want to put him in the category of wish I didn't remember you, but I genuinely just don't remember him. The only thing I know about him is that he's like really unreliable. But yeah, I think I'll put him in that category anyway, just because I don't really remember too much about that man. Then we have Miss Girl herself, Ginny. Ginny, the queen of bad decisions. While Ginny is cringy, boots. I can't say that I'd throw her into the pit. Like, I really just don't want to throw her into the pit because then she has to be fighting for her life with Grace, Obi, and Benji. And Ginny's terrible, but she doesn't deserve that. Like, I don't feel like I could sit right in my soul and throw Ginny in that pit. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna wish I didn't remember her. I'm gonna wish I didn't remember her. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you would throw Ginny in a pit in an instant. But me, that just ain't me. I couldn't do that to my fellow sister. Like, I can't. Like, with Grace, Obi, and Benji? Are you for real? What kind of person would I be to put Ginny with them? Like, no, you're sick. On to Hunter. And Hunter, if Hunter is the embodiment of wish I didn't remember, and I'm sad that I do, because I have this picture of him. This is the tap dancing picture, because I wish I didn't remember. Between the tap dancing, the Snapchat filter where he's like, good morning, Ginny, or like the Oppression Olympics, like I wish I didn't remember that. And now finally Marcus, and Marcus is going right there with him. I wish I didn't remember Marcus because Marcus is too edgy for me. Like, I don't get the Marcus hype, and I don't think that Ginny should end up with Marcus. I hope they introduce a new love interest in season 2, like, please. But yeah, I wish I didn't remember a lot of Ginny and Georgia, but here we are. Now, Euphoria. Euphoria has been a huge hit in 2022, and if you are familiar at all with my channel, you know, probably a lot of y'all would know about the Euphoria videos that I used to make earlier this year. Euphoria was big. And I had a lot of feelings about Euphoria, and I feel like we've had a lot of time to really process and sink in a lot of things about these characters. So, starting off with Ashtray, R.I.P. I would put Ash in Legend Living, but he is very much not living. I said that with a straight face too. I'm so sick. He's the highlight of the year. I am so sorry. Ash. You did not deserve that. Moving on, Faye. Wow, this is why therapy is essential. Faye was funny. Faye was really funny. I was not expecting her to be introduced to us this year, but she's here. She kind of is the reason why Ash is Ash. I have to stop. I think Faye is really cunty, and I really appreciate that about her. But I'm in between wishing I didn't remember her so I could remember Ash and just being okay with her existence. I really don't know. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch it, take it by the toe, even, not, eeny, meeny, miny. I wish she didn't exist. Or no, I wish I didn't remember her. I'm sorry, face stands. But yeah. Next we have Bobby, and a lot of y'all might not remember Bobby. Because, actually, I don't know why you wouldn't remember Bobby, because Bobby was iconic. Bobby was supporting Lexi in her play, and the Bobby moments just warmed my heart. I love Bobby Down. And actually, Bobby's actress was a fan of one of my TikToks I made about her, and she mentioned my TikTok in a Teen Vogue article that she wrote. So, me and Bobby, that's my girl through and through. We see each other. And for that, Bobby's a highlight of my year. Was that bias? Yeah. But what you gonna do about it? Fight me? Moving on, we got Cassie, Miss Cassie herself. Do we even need to talk about it? Is this even a discussion? Like, looks around the room. Where do you think I'm gonna put Cassie? There's only one correct answer. Like, legend living. Like, I got y'all. Y'all thought I was putting Cassie in the pit, didn't you? Y'all were probably like, I know Rumi's gonna put her in the pit. I know. There's no way. He dragged Cassie for all 8 episodes. There's no way that she's gonna go anywhere but the pit. But you know what? These past couple of months have allowed me to reflect. Is Cassie a good person? No. Terrible. Horrible person. Choosing to sleep with your best friend's abuser, who put a gun on your best friend and then doubling down on that. Terrible. Horrible person. And for that, I hate her as a character, but I cannot deny that her and Maddie's beef carried season 2. Like, besides the Rue stuff, their plotline was what was keeping the show interesting. Like that moment where Maddie's like, Rue? When was this? Like, that was prime television. And for that, she's a legend living. Like, she's a horrible person. Awful person. Do not endorse anything that she does. But she was iconic. So for that, she's a legend living. You can, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I know y'all are going to eat me up. I already know y'all are going to eat me up for that. I just want to repeat. I do not endorse her actions. I do not support anything that she did this season. However, I cannot deny her impact, for better or worse. So for that, she's a legend living. I'm sorry. I gagged everyone a bit there. Next up, we have Elliot. And Elliot is someone that I feel deserves to be in the pit. Everyone moved. I can't trust Elliot. Like, in the way that you can't trust Cassie, like, you could see Cassie coming. You know what to expect from Cassie. But Elliot, he wanted to play as the good guy to everybody, but secretly just wanted to get with Rue and Jules. Like, what? And then he kind of just like disappeared at the end of the season. Like, yeah, Elliot's in the pit. I'm sorry. Fez went through it in Euphoria season 2, but I love that he beat the living out of Nate Jacobs because Nate thoroughly deserved it. So for that, Fez is the highlight of my year. Fez is the highlight of my year. Like, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Fez. Like, gotta love Fez. Next, we have Kat. And Kat, because she had barely any scenes, I don't even need to wish I didn't remember her because she had 3 lines like that whole show, and one of them was about her faking a brain tumor. And weird. I really hate that they destroyed her storyline, but I mean, she exists. Like, I don't hate her and I really want to like her, but they didn't give us a whole lot this season. So she exists. Kat exists. Next, we have Jules. And then Jules, I feel like fits into the same category. Jules, not a whole lot happened for Jules. Like, towards the end of the season, she got really shady with the fact that she started kissing Elliot, was being kind of weird to Rue and just kind of overall. So for that, I mean, she exists. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I want in season 3 to get more development for Jules, just because I feel like there's a lot of good in there. We just need that to come out, especially now that she has the tapes. Like, what she does with that is up to her. And I hope we get to see her deal with that a little bit. Next, we have Lori. Lori's terrifying. We had no development for Lori. Like, Lori was introduced, terrifying, and then kind of just dipped. Like, we still don't know what's going to happen to Rue. Now that we know that Rue lost all of the substances that she owed Lori because of Jules' interference. But Lori's terrifying, and I feel like Lori needs to go into the pit just because of how sadistic she is. Like, Lori, into the pit you go. Then we have Maddie the baddie. Arguably the most iconic character on Euphoria. And without a doubt, like I said before, Maddie and Cassie carry season 2. So she's a legend living. Maddie is a legend living. And she did not deserve anything that happened to her this past season. She went through so much. So yeah, Maddie's a legend living. Sorry. Next we have Lexi. And Lexi was the highlight of the year. She was the dark horse of season 2 of Euphoria. I love seeing her and Fez's relationship blossom. Just seeing her step out of the supporting role and sort of stepping into her lead role with her play. Like, love that for her. And I love that she was not putting up with any of Cassie's BS. So yeah, highlight of the year. Nate. Nate deserves to be deep into the pit. Nate is one of the final bosses. Like, him and Lori carry that pit together. Because I was thinking about this. Nate really pulled a gun on Maddie and terrorized her. But then when he gets exposed in the play, he wants to be all boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Like, the time to be fearless now. Like, you need to be locked up. You need to be sent to the deepest, darkest pits. Like, yeah, immediately. And actually, now that I think about it, I'm kind of getting mad all over again. Like, I'm getting really mad. Like, you know what? Oh my, all the emotions that came back. Cassie, for enabling all of that. I'm thinking about all the things that Nate did and Cassie was standing right beside. No, she's going right back down to the pit. I must have been. I'm sorry. I'm angry all over again. Because why would you do that to Maddie? Why would you do that to Maddie? After everything? Oh. No, yeah. Nate's down in the pit, and Cassie just had to fall down into the pit as well. Like, she was iconic in the season, but she Anyways, Rue, what didn't Rue do last season? I think by the end of season 2, Rue is getting a little bit better, but Rue took a lot to get there. And for that, I feel like she exists and I'm okay with it. Like, I'm indifferent towards Rue. Like, I don't want to say I didn't remember her, but I'm not a fan of Rue. I'm sorry, love Zendaya, but Rue, she needs to work on herself a lot. Next, we have the sex lives of college girls, and I've been excited to do this one. We only have the main 4 here. But first, we have Bella. And Bella, I was not expecting her to get into as much stuff as she did. Like, at first, I was like, oh, that's just Bella. She has her crazy one-liners. Gotta love Bella. But at the end of the season where she's like accounting for everything that she's done, I'm like, wow, Bella's not a great person. Like, consistently being selfish, putting herself first, cheating on her boyfriend, hogging a feature. Like, Bella babes, what's going on? Like, at least she's really supportive of her friends, which is good. And for that, I don't know. Bella was still entertaining. Like, I really loved Bella's character on the show. And honestly, despite her flaws, I feel like she's a highlight of the year for me. She is. Now on to Whitney. Whitney's character in season 2 did not do it for me. I'm sorry. In season 1, she had some questionable antics, but in season 2, like, dropping Kanan over insecurity, valid. A very real struggle. But then going and ending up with who she ended up with. Like, She exists for me. She's neither good nor bad. Whitney's okay. I want more for her. I want more from her in the next couple of seasons. Layton's like the complete opposite. In season 1, I did not like her very much, but in season 2, we got a lot of development for Layton, and I love how her character is progressing. So for that, she's a highlight of my year. Like, I love Layton. And now for Kimberly. I was loving Kimberly for a while, up until the very end. With the twist at the end of her, I'm not gonna spoil it, but she falls for a certain person that she shouldn't. That directly harms someone very close to her. And it seemed like that kind of came out of nowhere. Like, that whole thing came out of nowhere. So for that, I kind of wish I didn't remember Kimberly. Like, I was so supporting Kim until she did that shiesty stuff. Like, wait. You know? But good on Kimberly because she pulls the finest men in the show. Although it's kind of odd that all of these straight characters somehow fall for white men even when they're presented with other options. Like, that is weird. Mindy, I'm looking at you kind of sideways for that. Season 3. Fix the act. But yeah. Next we have The Summer I Turned Pretty. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be really honest here. Y'all are gonna be mad at me. Belly, I'm okay with Belly. I was neither super impressed or super unimpressed by Belly. Like, Belly is just okay. Her brother though, I wish I didn't remember her brother. I strongly wish I could forget her brother. I love the way that she ate up her brother though at the end of the season. But I'm sad that I remember him. I'm sorry. Conrad, I wasn't a fan of Conrad. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not part of the Conrad hive. And I kind of wish I didn't remember Conrad. I'm sorry. I kind of wish I didn't remember Conrad. Fight amongst yourselves. I'm not a Conrad stan. I'm sorry. Jeremiah, the bi king but manipulative king. I think if this show gets to season 2, we're gonna see a little bit more of Jeremiah and his little crazy, because I feel like he got that dog in him. No, he he has a little something in him that is a little wild. But I didn't hate him, but I also didn't love him, so I mean, he exists. And finally we have Cam, and I loved Cam. Cam was so sweet, but I also know nothing about Cam, so he also kind of just exists. Now moving on to The Boys. The Boys is one of my favorite shows this year just because of how dark it is and how, like, it's superheroes, and I love superheroes and I like stuff that's a little dark. So really love The Boys down. Butcher though, he exists. I don't like him, but I don't hate him. So he exists. But Huey goes into the pit. I'm sorry. I don't know if y'all are expecting that from me. I don't like Huey. Like, something about Huey, I hate him as a main character. I hate that he's like the lead guy. I just don't like Huey. I don't know how to explain it. I can't put my finger on it. I just don't like Huey. A-Train. I wish I didn't remember A-Train. Like, I wish I can lose the memory of where I was first introduced to A-Train, because ever since A-Train was introduced, I am consistently gagged at how coonish he can be. Like, the Pepsi commercial, that's wild. Him wanting to have his whole Wakanda moment, that's also wild. Like, I wish I didn't remember A-Train. I'm sorry. Frenchie though, I'm a fan of Frenchie. I love me some Frenchie. Frenchie is a quality character, and he was a highlight of my year. I'm a fan of Frenchie. He was just good vibes. Like, he was just trying to do his own thing. He was trying to learn to live his own life. And with Kimiko, same spot. I love Kimiko. I think Kimiko's power is so cool, and like how she's just like sort of immortal. I just love her and Frenchie's whole dynamic. Then we have Deep. Let's take a quick guess. Quick poll. Where do you think I'm gonna put Deep? In the pit. Straight to the pit. Bye, Deep. Yeah, Deep. The octopus scene, The hero-gasm scene, like, why is Deep still on the show? Why is Deep still on the show? That is the question. Why hasn't anyone taken out Deep? I'm waiting for that. They took out Noir, but they could not take out Deep. Like, Now we have Maeve. Maeve, she exists. I'm sorry. I also feel like he just exists, and I'm okay with that. Like, he's there. I appreciate his beef with Soldier Boy, but he exists. Then we have Homelander. In Homelander, awful individual, terrible and terrifying individual, but I don't want to send him to the pit because I want to see how far he goes. Like, is that bad to say? I think that's awful to say, but I hate him, but I love to hate. Like, I wish I didn't remember him, but I'm sad that I do. I'm sorry. I don't want to banish him forever. I want to see how bad it gets. Like, I want to see how much worse he can get. Yeah, sorry. But Noir, Black Noir, he exists. He exists for me. It was sad how he was taken out, but he exists for me. And then Soldier Boy can go into the pit. As the father of Homelander, you can go into the pit. Sorry. Yeah, you deep in the pit. With deep in the pit. Yeah. And Starlight kind of just exists. Starlight gives me too much of this, like, savior complex where, and I get she's supposed to be like the good superhero, but at the same time, playing by the rules all the time when everyone else is corrupt. I get the moral, like, hero aspect of it all, but, like, really? Yeah. Next up, we have Stan. And I actually don't hate Stan. He's an awful person, terrible person. But I'm kind of okay with Stan. I wouldn't send him to the pit. He's like that calculated evil. You're like, oh, wow. That's terrible, but keep going. Yeah, that's the boys. Now on to Bel Air. And Bel Air was another dark horse, I feel like, this year. I loved Bel Air. Bel Air was so good. And I'm so glad they're getting a season 2. Bel Air was so good. So if you have not seen Bel Air on Peacock, you should watch it. But first up, we have Carlton. And Carlton, I wish I didn't remember Carlton. I'm sorry. Speaking about cones, I'm sorry. I know Carlton's actor got so much flack for Carlton's character, and I'm sorry for that. But Carlton, don't like him. I just don't like him. He don't deserve to be in the pit. The pit is pretty occupied right now, and I don't know how many other people are gonna be thrown in the pit, but Carlton does not deserve there. I just kind of wish I didn't know him. Jeffrey. Jeffrey's fine. A little British man, like, yeah. And he knows when to shut up. He knows when to leave when he's not wanted. Jeffrey's a legend living. At least for me. Uncle Phil, don't hate me. Don't hate me. But he's going in the pit. Ew, I hated that. But yeah, Uncle Phil's in the pit. Sorry. Vivian, the mom. I loved the mom, and I loved her story. I love her self-discovery. And honestly, I'm a fan. I'm a fan for that. I loved Vivian. Oh shoot, wrong place. There we go. Loved Vivian. Then Will himself. I really liked Will. I really did like Will. I'm just in between putting him in Legend Living and Highlight of the Year. He was just such a dope character. I really love. All right, I'm gonna put him in Highlight of the Year. I'm sorry. He deserves to be a Legend Living. Like, I love Will. I'm sorry. I'm so conflicted. Then we have Jazz, I think. Yep, Jazz. And Jazz is okay. He's really good to Hillary, Coco Jones's character. And speaking of Hillary, Coco Jones's character, I think she's a Highlight of the Year. I'm so glad and happy to see her in this role, and I really hope that this does wonders for her career because Coco Jones deserves the world and more. And I'm so glad to see her playing Hillary, and she's so good at it, and she's the highlight of my year, and I really love seeing her, and I love Coco Jones. I love Coco Jones. That's my girl. But now we're moving on to Interview with a Vampire, and y'all have been telling me to watch this show for a while and make a review on it. I don't think we're gonna make a full review on it, but consider this my full review. I liked it. I was confused, but yeah. First we have Claudia, and Claudia, I really liked her as a character because she knew what was best for Louis, and she was fighting for Louis from the very beginning, so for that, she's the highlight of the year. I really love Claudia. Louis though, I kind of wish Louis didn't exist. He was too dramatic for me. Like, Louis was just too dramatic and just strange and delusional. Like, it's the way he romanticized every part of his life, even the bad parts. Like, he's weird. And Lestat, deep in the pit with Lestat. I'm sorry. That is an awful man. Terrible. Yeah. Now moving on to you, we have Joe Goldberg. Joe is, I know he's supposed to be the bad guy, but he's the height of the year. I love seeing what he's going to do next. Like, he's so interestingly unwell. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, Right. Then we have Love. And Love, I am so sad that she got taken out of the show, or at least I think she was taken out of the show, unless she somehow survived. But Love is a legend living. Love is a legend living. I'm sorry, she is crazy also, but I just love seeing her crazy as opposed to Joe's crazy. Like, I think that she's so iconic. Like, she didn't want to show that side of her, but when she did and she got rejected for it, she's like, no, I'm turning the tables on you. And I love that for her. I love Love. Then we have Sherry. I wish I didn't remember Sherry. Sorry. And then we have Marianne. Marianne, the girl that Joe is lusting over and that is inserting herself in the situation and almost got herself taken out by Love. Marianne's okay. And I'm okay with that. Marianne's just okay. We have Theo, and I feel like Theo was just in too deep. He was trying to get into too much business. He was trying to get into too much, and for that, I kind of wish I didn't remember him. Like, I just remember watching You, the latest season of You. It's coming back to this coming year. And yeah, he irked me. He did. He did. He irked me. So I wish I didn't remember Theo. And then finally, at the end of this list, this video is so long. We have Do Revenge and the Do Revenge cast. And I feel like this is pretty easy. I feel like Drea is a highlight of the year. Drea is a highlight of the year. Loved the outfits, loved the character development. Eleanor though. Eleanor is a legend living. Because that whole twist at the end where she was plotting her revenge from the very beginning. 8. I'm sorry. And then the looks that she gave, yeah. I think you're seeing a trend with the legend living category and what qualities I like to have them be legend living. Like badass. Badass and cunty. And then we have Max. Pitt. Sorry. Pitt. Yeah. Sorry. Hated Max. Down. And finally we have Tara, and I put Tara here for one reason and one reason only, and it's what she's pictured in the picture doing, and that's the cunty little finger claps. And normally for that I put her in legend living, but she's also wasn't a great person, so for that she's a highlight. I'm sorry, was this list biased? Yes, very. But it's my list. If you want to make this list, I'll leave the link in the description so you can mix and master and make your own tier and organize the tier list as you see fit. But this is mine. As you can see, we have a lot of characters in the I Mean You Exist category. A lot more characters in the highlight of the year than I thought I was going to have. And then about equal characters that I wish didn't exist and that are in the pit. I feel like this is a pretty fair distribution of characters. But yeah, this is my list. These tier list videos have actually been really fun to do. So if you want to see more, I'd be happy to do more. I'm thinking about doing one on character tropes next. So if you'd like to see that, let me know down in the comments below. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. And again, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe and to follow me on my social medias at Imurgency. As well as if you haven't already, leave a like on this video because again, that helps out so much. But other than that, y'all, thank you so much for watching. I've been Imurgency and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.